Hello everybody, this is June here again for the second time today. The reason I'm making this video is as a response to a video which I've just watched by Michael, who is the Sublime Agent, who's one of my best pals on YouTube. He made a video about the MAC 150 brush, which, this one here, which he bought at a CCO. He bought a couple of them at a CCO. And they were a bit disastrous. He had all sorts of problems with the brushes, and he mentioned that he thought, the brush felt really poor quality, like a sort of a Chinese-made brush that you might buy off eBay, or and it just got me thinking, is there any possibility that that brush that he bought, or the brushes he bought, were counterfeit brushes, or the really cheap brushes that you can buy on the internet? Which are supposed to be MAC, but obviously aren't. Now, I happen to have a fake 150 brush. I bought this brush very early in my makeup buying career. I'm just going to move around so you can see a bit better. Here we are. Okay. This is the fake brush here. And this is the real brush here. I bought this one in the MAC store in Dublin. So I'm just going to give you a quick comparison between the two. Now, as you can see, the brush head is a completely different shape. The fake brush has a much more splayed shape, and it's much less rounded on top. The real brush is quite rounded in both directions. From the side you can see it's quite rounded as well. Fake brush is not really, it's more paddle shaped. Okay, looking at the heads of the two brushes then from the front, the real 150 on the left is much fuller than the fake 150, which is quite it's not that it isn't dense, it's reasonably dense, but certainly not as dense as the 150. The ferrules look very similar. The metal is slightly different in colour almost. There's a different shine to it. They're obviously different alloys, I would think. The real ones on the left, again, the fake ones on the right. You can see that the ferrule, to make the brush slightly flattened, the ferrule has been pinched here at the top. Now, it's also been pinched on the fake one, but you can see that, you can clearly see that that line where they've pinched it is quite marked on the real 150, but on the fake 150 it's not so obvious. So that's another way you can tell. The actual ferrule at the bottom is quite similar on both, and the length of the ferrule is the same. I'm just going to try and show you that, because I'm working with one hand here. The length of the ferrule is the same. Okay. Then onto the handles. The handle, you can clearly see that they're a different colour. The fake one is a much greyer colour. This is very black. The grey one is, the fake one is a little bit more shimmery than the real one. Also, if you look at the ends of the handles, sorry about this, I'll have to edit this video because I keep just getting disturbed all the time. Yeah, as I was saying, you can see that the ends of the handles are quite different. I can just get my camera to focus on those. You'll see that the fake one has a much more sharp demarcation between the length, the shaft of the handle, and where it's rounded off. And on the real one, it's a much more smooth, rounded top. So you'll see the two of those are quite different. The actual logo is not that different really between the two. It's a little bit closer to the ferrule on this brush, the fake brush. And it's also not etched quite as deeply on the fake brush as it is on the real one. My camera's having focusing problems at the moment. Okay. The other thing is, if I can show you this, if you can see this, I'm going to come around this way again. There's the little mark on the real brush where it says Japan. Now I'll show you the two together because they are quite another interruption. So let me just show you that again in more detail. I'm making a mess of this. Okay, there's that one there, and there's the one on the fake brush. So you can see they're quite different. But what worries me, I mean, these are very, I mean, look, it's very easy to spot, right? These are not the same brush, you know. Heads are, everything's different. And I'll tell you what isn't different and what scares me really about it. The hair, it's a slightly different kind of colour almost, but do you know what? The quality of the hair is actually not that different. Like, if I close my eyes now, I can't actually tell the difference between the two with my eyes closed. You know, I mean, okay, this brush is not as dense. It's definitely a much wimpier brush because the hairs are longer. It's less dense and it's got longer hairs, so it's a much more flexible brush, right? This one's got a little bit less give in it because it's a thicker brush and the shorter hairs. But the quality of the hair in it is like, it's not hugely different. Considering this is like an ultra cheap knockoff, you know. So that's a bit scary. You know, one would wonder. I can't remember how much I paid for this. At least €50, I think. 40 or 50 euro for this brush. And this one I got as part of a set. I bought it ages ago, you know, ordered it from some Chinese website. So there you go. There's the comparison between the fake MAC and the real one. So look out for that. If you've got one that's like this, then it ain't real. You know, but as I say, the quality of the hair is scarily similar between the two brushes. And I mean, this is not it's not a bad quality brush. The ferrule is actually, now that I try it, the ferrule is moving a little bit. But then Michael's 150 was a real MAC brush apparently, and the ferrule wasn't on it. And two of them, the ferrules were loose, and the heads came off them. Now there you go. Look at that. That's moving. So Michael, maybe have a look at your brushes and just see what they were selling you in the CCO. If it has any of those hallmarks on it. Forgive my grubby hands today. I've been doing stuff in the kitchen. Yeah, you never know. You might have a fake on your hands there. Yeah, so there it is. I mean, if you look at this, for instance, here, I'm just showing you this as a comparison. This is a 168. This is a it's a 168. It is a 168. Or yeah, 168. Right. The hair in that's quite soft. Softer than the one in the 150. This is a Hakuhodo brush, which is similar in shape to the 150 or to the 168, MAC 168. This is the Hakuhodo. Alright. Now if I close my eyes, and I promise you I am closing my eyes. Alright, and I just like mix them around, mix around, mix around, mix around. Okay. Now I can quite easily tell you that that's the Hakuhodo brush. Am I right? Yes. The quality of the hair in these brushes is far superior to the quality of the hair in the MAC brushes. There's no comparison. It's a different creature altogether. I know they are exponentially more expensive, but you know, I mean, MAC brushes are not cheap either. So I'm just saying the difference in quality between the MAC brush and another type of brush is very, very, very obvious. And yet the difference between these two brushes, the MAC, the 150 and the fake 150, like the shape is different and the build is different, but the brush, the hair quality is actually pretty much the same. So there you go, Michael. I hope that's helpful. Let me know if anyone else has a similar experience. And watch out for those fake MAC brushes, because they are a real rip-off. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.